Hey everybody, MrScaryMuffin welcoming you back, and this is my third opponent during the BC tournament, the first cycle as we called it. The second cycle is actually starting tomorrow, so we'll see how well I do. Probably not as much. I'm not really confident in my new team despite thinking that it was going to be better than my first team here. Anyways, I got to play with Justin, aka G-Star. He is running the good old Kangaskhan Talonflame combo using the Sable Eye. Sable Eye, just like my Klefki, has the Prankster ability, which means any status moves it does gets a priority. And then he's also running a Scissor, which is probably not the Mega Scissor, because the Kangaskhan usually is the one you want to Mega. On the flip side, I am running the Rotom Wash, the Klefki, my usual leads. I've got the Conkeldurr. I wanted to use a fighting type to take out the Kangaskhan. And then I also have the Chandelure as well. Let's see how well that goes. And panda hats for everybody. Absolutely love it. So he leads out Talonflame and Sableye, so not bad. Talonflame has the priority ability, Gale Wings, that gives any flying moves priority, and then Sableye has Prankster, which gives status moves priority. So he's got priority up the wahoos. If I had Quick Guard, it would have been really good here. Quick Guard, of course, guarantees protection against priority moves. But he is going to throw out the Taunt on my Klefki, which makes my Klefki pretty much useless. Taunt makes it so that you have to use only attack moves and not status moves anymore. So my Klefki, with having 3 status moves and 1 not so effective attack move, is not going to be really handy. So I'm just going to pull him out and throw out the Buncible. And Sableye is going to do the Will-O-Wisp and get the burn ticking on my Sporkensword. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but of course burn will cut attack damage to half. But on Sporkensword being a special attacker with like Hydro Pump and Thunderbolt and that kind of stuff, the loss of the attack bonuses doesn't really matter to me. He will get the Kangaskhan out, and that is a physical attacker for sure. Scissor is going to go protect, and I think Hydro Pump comes out, Scissor protects, I Shadow Ball, and I totally miss on the Kangaskhan because normal types is immune to ghost types. I didn't know this. Does anybody knew that? I didn't know this. Kangaskhan is going to do the Fake Out on Bunsey on the next turn. And the reason why it didn't Mega Evolve is because if it Mega Evolve, it'll lose its Scrappy ability. And the Scrappy ability is what allows it to hit ghost types with normal attacks and fighting attacks. It's kind of like the Mold Breaker that we saw before, but it's its own kind of thing. So my Rotom Watch is just taking a beating, being like a total appliance, very, very tank-like. The burn damage hurting everybody. It's good times for all. I'm going to pull back the Wash because I feel like a lot of things are going to come and attack and throw out kind of sacrificial Klefki, but I also want to be able to use the status stuff on him as well. Kangaskhan is burned here, so it's going to do less damage, but going with the Parental Bond ability, it means that the baby also gets to punch, and all attacks from Kangaskhan does 1.5 damage instead of just the usual damage. The baby accounting for the 0.5 punch, and then the baby goes punch. Yeah, there he goes. There's the second punch. And yeah, he's constantly protecting with the Scissor. He's expecting me to hit it or something. And then finally he pulls it back. I think he wants to save the Scissor for something as a late game sweeper maybe. He's really worried about me taking it out. But here comes the Swagger, and this is actually really dangerous on my part because it raises the attack, but it also confuses, and it basically nullifies any of the stuff that the burn did on Kangaskhan. But I was really, really hoping that Kangaskhan would just kill itself, and I was basically, I call it YOLO Swagger, just swagger and pray that nothing will happen. But there goes the Flare Blitz to take out the Klefki, or I don't know what happened there. Klefki's still alive. I totally missed what happened. All I know is that Talonflame did damage and took recoil damage, it looked like. There goes Talonflame. Bunsey protects. And Kangaskhan, I'm hoping will knock itself out. No, it does. Oh, it tried to Sucker Punch into the Bunsey, and the way Sucker Punch works is that it will have priority, but it will fail if the Pokemon is trying to hit doesn't do an attack. So he tried to Sucker Punch the Chandelure thinking that it was going to do something, but I protected instead, so it did nothing. Alright, here comes Sableye. Sableye is going to Fake Out on the Klefki, prevent me from doing any of my priority stuff. Fake Out, of course, has +3 priority, whereas any of the stuff given priority by Prankster, it only gets +1. Actually, I think since Sableye has Prankster, the Fake Out probably has +4 then instead of +3. I'll have to confirm that later. But yeah, RL got flinched. I wanna swagger that Sableye so bad. And surprisingly, Leftover is making Klefki super tanky. And I named Klefki after Arl because Arl absolutely loves it. As soon as I mention it, he's like, I love Klefki. I'm like, okay, I'll name it after you then. And which is where the rest of the theme of the naming comes from. I'm going to mention this before. I'm recording these on different days, so I forgot what I've mentioned in the first 2 games already. Uh-oh, that's no good. He snaps out of the confusion and gets a really solid punch. I probably almost definitely should have Mac punched, because I had Mac punch on my guy, and I assumed that Kangaskhan was just going to burn to death, so I didn't want to waste a turn killing it. But I really should have just Mac punched and just avoided getting wailed on this hard. Oh man, either that or like a double protect. Except I don't have a protect on Klefki. But if I protected on Conqueror, I would have had a very strong Conqueror left over. And yeah. I can't use a fighting attack against Sableye because Sableye is Dark Ghost, I think, and Ghost, of course, is immune to fighting attacks, so that sucks. Paralysis still in effect, coming out. Or sorry, Paralysis going out. And is that a Lumberry? Yeah, Lumberry. Lumberry cures any condition, but only once, of course, because you had to eat the berry. And Bullet Punch coming out to take out the Conkeldurr. See, that's exactly the thing I should have done, which was use the Mac Punch to take out the Kangaskhan, so I don't have to get hit for so much damage. That was a huge misplay. Taunt coming out on the Klefki, which means Klefki can't use. I can't use Klefki the way I wanted to. And but I do have still Sporkensort. Sporkensort's gonna just hopefully absorb a whole bunch of hits. Will-O-Wisp going down, so both of my Pokemon are going to be burned, and they're going to be slowly ticking down on life. So this is the attack that I have on Klefki. It does so little damage. Foul Play uses the attack stat of your opponent to attack with, but even then it just doesn't do that much. Especially since I don't get the same type attack bonus using Foul Play. The best way probably to use the Foul Play would be to like swagger something over and over and over again and pump up their attack. They cap out at +7, I think. So each swagger gives them a +2. So I can swagger them over and over again and then use the Foul Play and hopefully hit them for a lot of damage. But I'm just hoping to chip out this. Oh, actually, I was gonna say chip out the Scissor here, but because Sableye, at this point, I should have realized that Sableye had absolutely no attack. All it has is Fake Out, Taunt, Will-O-Wisp, and Recover. Those are the 4 moves that it has, which means since it's been out for so long, it can no longer do any actual damage other than the burn, which it already has done to all my Pokemon. Surprisingly, all my Pokemon are still alive. And I'm going to double team on the Scissor this time. I think I realized that I need to take out the attacker. So Scissor is now down. It's left, I think Rotom's going to probably burn to death this turn as well. So it's actually going to be left to the support Pokemon to duke it out here. So we have a Sableye that can't attack. And we have a Klefki that has an attack but doesn't do that much damage at all. But luckily I can still do some damage. But I am on a clock because I have been burned, and I'm taking, let's see, that's 20 damage, and then I heal up. No, so I'm gonna swagger him and confuse him. So now he is both paralyzed and he's confused. We call that parafusion, and basically there's like a 30% chance that he's going to be paralyzed. There's a 30% chance that he's going to be confused, or a 50% chance, I don't know, that he's going to hurt himself through confusion. And that ends up with something like a 30% chance that he'll actually be able to do something on his turn. And that's what I'm basically hoping for. And this is going to be a long battle because neither of us is doing that much damage. But I think I'm on the clock. I heal up 10 HP and then I lose 20 HP afterwards. So I basically lose 10 HP per turn. And that's the only damage I'm taking. It's pretty much guaranteed. And he is probably just going to be spamming recover every single turn, and that's all he can do is to hope. Either recover or taunt, I guess, would be his only option. Because Fake Out's guaranteed to fail, and Will-O-Wisp I'm already burned, so that doesn't do anything. Yeah. So he's probably going to be spamming taunt until he's down about half life, and then he's going to try to recover. But he's already confused. I swagger him just to boost up his attack so that Foul Play does more damage. And he's going to hit himself a little bit under half. So I need to hit him with the Foul Play this turn. And this is just a silly battle at this point. We're both going, well, this is our support Pokemon, and that's how it's going to work. And I'm now under 100 HP. Oh, and the Sableye snaps out and just, yeah, sure. I'm just going to use the recover. Ain't no thing. I actually wonder if his Sableye is faster than my guy. Throw out the Foul Play. I was hoping that he'll hit himself and then let me hit him with Foul Play for the knockout. But I need to throw out the Swagger again to get him re-confused. But if the Sableye is faster and we both have Prankster boost, it's not going to work out that well for me. But no, it looks like my Klefki is faster than his Sableye. I did give my Klefki, I think, +8 like EVs into speed, just to make it so that it would outspeed a lot of other things that don't usually put things into speed. So that might have actually helped me a little bit. I don't know. I have no idea what their base speeds are. Like, pro players would kind of have a general idea where the speed tiers are, so they'll know generally which Pokemon are going to be faster than others. But it's going to be a little bit back and forth right now, and all I got to do is hope that he's not able to do anything on his turn, and let me just kill him. Oh, I'm getting good damage now, so hopefully if he is unable to recover, then I should be okay. But I'm going to take the burn here, and I'm going to be down to about almost a third of my life left. Tick, tick, tick. Tick, tock, tick, tock. Oh, and he manages to get recover. Are you kidding me? This is like, both of us are basically hitting the same attack over and over again. He's just spamming recover, I'm spamming Foul Play, and we're letting the game decide who wins. It's like, okay game, who's got this? But again, he only has 30% chance of doing something on his turn. Both of us, of course, have leftovers on our support Pokemon, so they're just slowly bringing it up. They're not necessarily stall Pokemon. They're not designed to be such. They're supposed to help the main attackers a lot. But he's going to throw the taunt here, so I'm not going to be able to confuse him. Again, all I can do is Foul Play for the next 3 turns. Taunt lasts for 3 turns, I believe. And so he's going to be able to recover, and I think that's pretty much, at this point I'm like, well, that's GG almost. I almost typed it out. You can always just leave the match and just forfeit that way too. Just concede the match. Not rage quitting. It's you know, if you know the match is over, you just finish it off. You trust and respect your opponent. Are you kidding me? He was paralyzed, and I'm like, oh, he can't recover. I got this. And he's left with a sliver of health, so he can recover. I am down to, I think I've only got 2 or 3 more turns left after this. Yeah, next turn I'll be down at 24-14. Oh, and he's paralyzed again! Will I hit? I hit. And that is the game. So, even though he did manage to taunt and stay not confused, just those 2 turns where he could have done something, he gets paralyzed twice, and I probably wouldn't need the second one, but I just didn't hit hard enough with the attack. Alright, I'll show you guys the second game here, and this time around he is bringing in the Nidoking and the Amoongus, the mushroom. He was mentioning Sableye just didn't do anything for him, so he's going to go with that. I'm going to stick with the same team and hope that the Conkeldurr will do better. I think I was assuming that I probably should have just Mach Punched. That was just the idea. I should have just Mach Punched. So this time around, I'm hoping that I'll be able to get in with a Mach Punch. The big difference is that I need to avoid the Talonflame, because the Talonflame will hurt. I was assuming that he was going to start... Well, I actually didn't know what he was going to start, but I had my leads, which was Arl and the Rotom, and I didn't want to go down to a Flare Blitz, so I switched out Arl immediately and threw out Bunsey. Bunsey told me he really liked ghost types, so he immediately claimed to be Chandelier. I have a Politoed now on my team, so I think that's a little bit more fitting of his name, and I'm going to switch that over. So Justin is going to use a Tailwind on his first turn, and Tailwind makes it so his Pokemon move a little bit faster for I think 3 turns. And I'm going to protect. I probably should have just double protected and just use the double protection to eat up some time out of that Tailwind. But the Nidoking is the only thing that moves really quick, and I am going to hit it for super effective damage with the Hydro Pump, get rid of it right away. I'm assuming... So he just switched up to the Kangaskhan, so I'm assuming there's going to be a Fake Out coming out pretty soon. And there it is. And it's going to slap Bunsey in the face. But I'm going to put the Will-O-Wisp. He probably should have faked out on the Rotom, but both Chandelier and Rotom have the potential to do the Will-O-Wisp, so he probably assumed that Chandelier was the Will-O-Wisper. It's going to put the Spore onto Rotom, and Rotom's going to go to sleep. And the way sleep works is that there is like a maximum of 5 turns and a minimum of 1 turn, I think, for sleep. And what's new in Pokemon XY is that the sleep counter does not reset when you switch in and out, which is something that happened in the previous version. There is no quote-unquote sleep clause in double battles. You can put as many Pokemon to sleep as you want, and in reality it actually doesn't make that much difference. As I mentioned before, the game is balanced around doubles, and sleep is pretty strong, but it's not like the end all of things, and there's a lot of ways to play around it and to work yourself around it. Both the baby and the mommy gets burned. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there is a way to get a male Kangaskhan. I think Kangaskhan can only be female. I know I've been breeding a few Kangaskhan's recently. I may or may not use it in the future, but like I realized that hey, it's not getting. I'm not getting any males whatsoever, and I like, oh, maybe it's 100% female. I'm trying to wait out the clock right now for the Rotom to come out, and I want to just Hydro Pump or Thunderbolt that Talonflame, get rid of it. But instead I'm going to switch out for Arl. Probably not my smartest move. If there's a Flare Blitz coming, it's going to hurt, but I think he's going to probably try to double team onto the Rotom and try to get rid of the Rotom, because Rotom is a huge threat to his team. But okay, Brave Bird on the Klefki, that's interesting. Either that or that was just during the switch. I'm not really keeping track of exactly what's happening very well right here. Citrus Berry is going to keep Rotom up. Citrus Berry is a very good health gaining item, that and leftovers. And if you have a poison type, I guess Black Sludge would be pretty good as well. Kangaskhan slowly getting chipped away here. If I can get rid of the Talonflame, I can bring out my Conkeldurr without fear. I'm switching back in Bunsey because I'm predicting a Flare Blitz, and the Chandelier has an ability called Flash Fire, where if you hit it with a fire attack, it does no damage. Yeah, there it goes. Does no damage, and the power of fire type attack damage from Chandelier increases. So I pair the Chandelier with Klefki specifically for that fact, so that anytime I think there's a fire attack coming into the Klefki, I just swap out to the Chandelier and take no damage. And Bunsey's going to protect against supposed attack coming in. Brave Bird coming out, and of course I got the protection. Yeah, and the Sucker Punch fails because I just protected and switch, and I did no attacks. Burn damage slowly ticking away on the Kangaskhan, and if I just time my protects correctly, oh wow, I double protected. Oh, so the way protect works is that you can't use it every turn. If you use it on a consecutive turn, the second time you use it, it gets 50%. There's a 50% chance that it doesn't work, and if you use it again, like a third time, there is like an even less chance that it will work. But the fact that I actually did it twice there was actually pretty huge. Flare Blitz coming out on the Klefki is going to hurt it a lot, but Talonflame takes some damage in return as well. And Kangaskhan's going to tick away there a little bit. I might switch out. Talonflame is going to protect, assuming that I was going to attack it. And Sucker Punch comes out, and will this kill something? Yeah, definitely. Too bad. It's a dark type attack, which is why I can hit the ghost. Even though it's called Sucker Punch, it's not technically a punch attack. I think, like, the Japanese name for Sucker Punch is something else. It's like Cheap Shot or something like that. Low Blow. I don't know. The burn's going down. I can just throw out pretty much anything right now and double protect, and Kangaskhan will burn to death. He might read this and do something, so instead I am going to safeguard against random stuff and Mach Punch. Learning from my mistakes, gonna take out the Talonflame and let if Talonflame Brave Bird me, it would actually have been really bad. I should have double protected there, but I think like he predicted a double protect. Did attempt to attack anyways. Does do decent amount of damage, but not as crazy as last time. Mainly probably because I didn't swagger him, I think. I don't remember now why he did so much damage the first time, but I managed to stay up, and the burn's going to finish off the Kangaskhan. So getting two good KOs here, and I think he is left with just the Amoonguss against both Klefki, Rotom, and the Conkeldurr left over. I'm going to paralyze this guy, and I think that's pretty much GG. There's not much he can do here. I'm going to smack him pretty hard with this guy. Hammer Arm attack. Not doing that much damage. But there's not that much he can do. He can Giga Drain me for a little bit of health. It's going to get him up there a little bit, but it's not going to help that much. If I throw out the Rotom, that might help a little bit. But I think with the swagger coming up, he's probably going to be screwed. And the Parafusion is complete! I think if he hits himself here, he's probably just going to concede. Bap. Parafusion basically got the world #2 last year to the finals, and he just rolled really good on the Parafusion stuff, as well as on like double protect and things like that. It's just really hard to keep up with. Nice foul play coming out. Oh, that's doing a lot of damage. Yeah, there's no way he can do this. With the foul play next turn is pretty much guaranteed. Oh, and he also hits himself. That is over. Yeah, and at that point he concedes the game. So GG's to Justin. Thank you guys for watching this one. This was a little bit longer game, namely because of that support Pokemon battle in that first game. So I'll cut it off here, guys. Stay tuned for the next one. I think I'm playing Sebastian.